This show is sponsored by Alicia's Pillows and Things. Check out the Facebook page, Alicia's Pillows and Things, where you will find home decor you will not be able to resist at prices anybody can afford. Check out the pillows and stools of your favorite sports teams. Maybe you want a set of your kid's favorite cartoon or movie character. You can also get full body and neck pillows as well. Log on to ngscsports.com and go to the Alicia's Pillows and Things tab on the homepage to complete your order. It makes a great gift for Christmas at an affordable price. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
Say son, if any issues?
Sure, if that's what you wanted me to say, I will. I will say I said it, my friend.
Oh my god.
Because someone had some of their issues fixed today.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick, did you see any of our match?
I didn't even see any of my match. It was on NBC Gold.
Yeah.
As was yours, I believe.
Yeah.
And then also I was at work, so yeah, I haven't seen anything. I've read all about mine. I've read the write-up of yours. I was watching mine on a live. I was watching like a live update stream on This Is Anfield. So yeah, I have like ideas, but no, you're gonna have to. Excuse me, you're gonna have to like totally take the lead on yours, and I'll just.
That's fine. I mean, I've seen some of it, but there's one funny highlight I saw right after we'd scored our second. I think it was about like the 91st or 92nd minute. One of our ball boys, I guess, got the ball after it had gone off the touchline. And was just like kind of walking away with it, like not super obviously, but like the kid knew what he was doing, and like one of the Watford players came over and like came up from behind and slapped it like right out of his hand, and it's like holy shit. And so like they showed a replay, and then they came out of the replay, and like one of the cameras was like focused on the kid, and he like turned to someone in the back row and kind of like winked at him. And it was like, oh, this kid's a ledge.
Proper bastard.
But then the best part is I just actually watched Pochettino's press conference from after when he met with like the whole like group.
Uh-huh.
And somebody asked him about it. And you could tell he knew, because you could see it in his face. Like he's trying not to smile and laugh. And he's like... And he's like pretending not to understand what the guy's asking. Like what?
I suddenly forgot how to speak English.
What? Oh no! I was looking at the fourth official, and then I was looking at Sonny, and I did not see it. I don't know what it's talking. I was like, bless you, Podge, bless you.
Proper taking of the piss.
Yes. Because, I mean, we got to take the piss out of the English media sometimes. It's fun. But that's what we try to do here every week on the A Foreign Affair podcast. And this week will be no different. This being episode 247, myself, Edward Green, joined once again by my calling crime, Wes Bradshaw, from his new magisterial palatial estates. Welcome to the pod, Wes Bradshaw.
It's like the deluxe North Rocky Mount abode of my childhood, of my teenage years.
Delicious.
Back, baby.
Delicious abodes. Some teams return home, some players return home, as we'll get into in this week in review. Of course, the Premier League for some reason had midweek matches that we're going to be covering. That's the Premier League week in review. We'll also talk a little bit about the EFL Cup semifinal that I didn't get to mention last Wednesday because that was also kind of a weird schedule where instead of Tuesday, Wednesday, they went Wednesday, Thursday. But whatever. We'll also do a quick FA Cup review, or as I like to call it, the really no one actually cares cup. So we'll do that. We'll also have a little bit of news and notes, not too much to talk about. Also, gotta love timing. Tomorrow is the transfer deadline. So, although it's been a fairly quiet transfer period anyway, I don't know that much craziness is going to happen tomorrow.
And there's some rumors out there, but there's no.
Yeah.
Yeah, the best stuff on deadline day is the stuff that kind of comes out of nowhere. So
that is true.
I mean, we can't tell you anything about that, but we might touch on a few of the little rumors out there just to see if some things happen.
Sure. And then of course we'll end with the Watch 4 and So Raw. It's a Royal Rumble edition of So Raw, right?
Yeah, it's like I know what happens. I have yet to watch a second of it. That's not out of not wanting to. It's just
who has 5 hours?
God, 7 hours, whatever. Jesus. I mean, really, all I want to watch are the 2 Rumble matches and the
That's
title
true.
matches.
That sounds like all you need
cut
to
that
do.
down to about 3 hours.
That's not too bad. So we'll get that, of course. As always, the podcast is presented by NGSC Sports and NGSCSports.com. We never stop, as well as Alicia's Pills and Things. That superb owl is coming up this weekend. Someone reminded me today, because I had kind of forgotten. But hey,
what a hell of an owl, too.
Yeah,
we care for one reason. His name is Todd Gurley.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of come full circle back with the Patriots dynasty starting, beating the Rams back in 2002.
2001, I think.
Was it? Well, it was the 2001 season. I think it was the 2001 season, but the Super Bowl was 2002.
Let's look real quick. 2001 Super Bowl. That was Super Bowl all the way back in old Super Bowl 35. Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. Baltimore actually won in 2001. Yeah, so, 2000. Yeah, the 2001 season.
Yes.
Was that Super Bowl.
Because I remember it was like the whole 9/11 thing and Patriots and all that stuff.
Yeah, and back then it was that plucky little Tommy Brady.
I can't believe I won, guys.
Jeez, who knew that he would basically become Darth Vader?
It's how it always works. He did kind of remind me of a young Christian Haydenson. I might have totally butchered that. Oh, Hayden Christensen. That's who it is.
I mean, he's basically Ronaldo.
Kind of, yeah. But hey, back to the original point. If you want to celebrate in style this Super Bowl Sunday, go to Alicia's Pills and Things and see if you can get some NFL-themed furniture for your house today. That's Alicia's Pills and Things. You can find her wares on Facebook. All right, so let's hit right to the matches. I guess we always go in chronological order, so I guess that means we have to start with the League Cup. That happened.
Jesus Christ. Excuse me, I'm going to put this down and go cook dinner for tomorrow night, I think.
That's fine. The League Cup happened last week. Chelsea versus Tottenham in the second leg. It was a 1-0 lead for Tottenham that they brought into Stamford Bridge. But early goals from Chelsea quickly turned it around. A bit of a fluke goal from N'Golo Kante, as well as a great piece from Eden Hazard, made it 2-1 on aggregate. But then Fernando Llorente, with not the last time you're going to hear his name today, he scored in the 50th minute, coming right out of the gates at halftime to make it 2-2, leveled everything back up, and then missed an absolute beautiful chance on a great piece from Christian Eriksen that could have maybe given Tottenham the win. It went to penalties. Chelsea win 4-2 on penalties. Dyer and Lucas Moura missing theirs for Tottenham, as Chelsea made all 4 of theirs, which means Chelsea will be going to the final at Wembley on February 24th, where they will take on Manchester City. So Wes, it's another semi-final end for Tottenham in a cup run. But this, of course, was amid a time period where they were pretty much losing people left and right. And as much as it sucks, and it does suck, and this was one they, I think, tried to go for and really showed that they were actually going for. It is disappointing that if you think, man, maybe a mostly healthy squad actually comes out of Stamford Bridge with a victory there, because Tottenham did look like they came out with renewed energy in the second half and looked like a better squad for them maybe pulls out that win.
I mean, Tottenham are basically getting slaughtered right now.
Yeah.
For multiple reasons.
We're getting one. We're getting some back, though, baby.
Oh, Jesus. But, with this one, I guess the only thing people say, oh, why didn't you play Christian Eriksen? Because sooner or later, the guy has to have a freaking break if you want to finish it in the top four and get back in the Champions League.
Eriksen played.
Well, he did, but he didn't start and play the entire match.
Wait.
Am I right on that?
No, I think you're wrong.
Well, then, fuck my ideas.
Yeah.
I thought he didn't play in the FL Cup.
No, he played.
Or was that the FA Cup he didn't play?
He didn't even make the bench in the FA Cup.
That's okay. That's what I'm thinking. Please excuse me. Please.
That's fine.
Well, we'll talk about that, I guess, as well. So
sure.
I'll come back to that point.
Okay,
that I was
that's
making then. That's why everybody's bitching they're out of the FA Cup. But you look at it. This is a team that they're completely depleted.
Yeah.
If you take Salah, Mane, and Firmino off of Liverpool, guess what? We don't exactly click at that point. That's just how it is, and yes, it's a point where the lack of depth up front came back to bite them. Maybe some poor defending at times came back to bite them. But, it was a tough day at the office for Spurs. And you know what? They still got it to penalties. And then when it gets to penalties, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? They lose on penalties. It does suck. It sucks. You were 90 minutes away. You were penalty kicks away from going to Wembley. Ooh, wow, what a trip!
Oh boy,
that would have been. Wow. Getting that special opportunity that once in a lifetime to play in Wembley, right?
Yeah.
But a chance to go to a final, a chance to lift a trophy. But at the end of the day, how bad can you get on them? They're falling apart physically, and they still get it to penalties over a Chelsea team, which is really, really, really floundering at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But it sucked. I was really hoping to see Tottenham City final, see if Tottenham could go balls out, see if they could lift that trophy. But, at the end of the day, just not meant to be. And then turn around with the FA Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the FA Cup's a little more head-shaking just because of the opposition. But, yeah, it was a tough week for Spurs. But, when you're missing most of your attack – there's only so much you can really be expected to do at times.
Yeah, so it's rough for Tottenham, but they do bow out. They did give it their all. You must say, especially in the League Cup, they certainly did go for it.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's going
to. I think they just physically came up short.
Yeah, so rough for them. But again, that final will be February 24th, Chelsea versus Manchester City. And that's okay for Chelsea because it's not like they have Champions League football that they have to worry about in that time period anyway. Hey, gotcha.
Hi-oh.
Yeah, they have Europe.
Hi-oh.
So let's get to that FA Cup now. Oh boy, this was, you want to talk about slaughtering? This was a slaughter for a lot of Premier League teams. There will be 4 replays because replays are still a thing in the 4th round. Yay! Including Brighton. Finishing 0-0 versus West Brom. Middlesbrough and Newport County finishing 1-1. Shrewsbury and Wolves finishing 2-2. That is Wolves drawing 2-2 against Shrewsbury Town from League One and needing a 93rd minute goal to do it. And then finally, Portsmouth draws 1-1 versus QPR, so Pompey will be heading to London for that replay. And then Brentford versus Barnet will be a little bit later. That was a 3-3 affair. Very, very nice, fun FA Cup time. Magic there for Barnet. As Barnet, of course, the only non-league side left in the competition, they have a chance to advance. But Premier League teams also did fall. Arsenal loses to United 3-1. Granted, that is a Premier League versus Premier League matchup. A lot of these were. Man City just blitzes Burnley 5-0. Watford gets past Newcastle 2-0. Let's see what else as we go through here. Everton loses to Millwall 3-2 on a somewhat controversial night in London for Millwall there, as they leveled on interesting circumstances. West Ham, who 4-2 flatters to deceive that scoreline. They were down 3-0 in the first 46 minutes to AFC Wimbledon out of League One. That is a bottom table.
The bottom of League One.
Yes, bottom table. Wimbledon.
It's not like we're talking the leaders of League One here. We're talking about like the worst team in League One.
Mm-hmm.
And West Ham didn't get beat, as you said. They just got smoked.
Yes, they did. Palace beats Tottenham, as we mentioned, 2-0 in that one in Sellers Park. Chelsea gets past Sheffield Wednesday 3-0, thanks to a goal from a man they are desperately trying to keep on in Callum Hudson-Odoi. And those are your matches. So as we look real quick before we get to talking about them, your fifth round ties include Bristol versus either Shrewsbury or Wolves. Wimbledon gets Millwall, so there's a fun match. Doncaster Rovers out of League One will be hosting Palace. Either Middlesbrough or Newport County will be losing at home to Manchester City. Swansea will be getting either Barnet or Brentford. Pompey or QPR will host Watford. Brighton or West Brom will be hosting Derby. And then Chelsea versus Manchester United. United playing a top six club for the second straight round in the FA Cup. The magic of the FA Cup. So once we hit this fifth round, Wes, either, depending on how replays go, somewhere between 5 and 7 Premier League clubs will make up the last 16. That seems like a very low number, but it's been a very interesting FA Cup, shall we say? And
that's awesome, with teams out. I welcome chaos.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, this is the fun one as opposed to
who wouldn't love to see a final of Derby versus Shrewsbury?
Ooh, you're speaking my language.
Besides the FA,
yeah. But then they can
nobody's coming.
It's the magic of the FA Cup. They can sell it hard then. But of course, this is pretty crazy. I will say this, and maybe this will lead into some of what you want to talk about previously with Spurs. We love Ian Dark. We love Ian Dark so much. He made a comment, though, on the Twitter in a little old man yells at cloud sort of way. That's a Simpsons reference, kids. The Simpsons used to be a show that was really funny. Go check it out. Yeah. Anyway, Ian Dark basically said on Twitter, the usual thing of, it's too bad Premier League teams, the FA Cup, don't take it seriously, blah, 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 blah. And somebody was like, well, teams like to rotate, and, finishing in the top 4 is very important for a lot of teams that are playing. And so it's tough for them to do it. And one of his comments and replies, Ian said, was, yep, apparently it was very hard for Arsenal, Liverpool, and Spurs. And I'm absolutely paraphrasing that. But he mentioned those 3 teams, and I'm like, okay, let's take out for 1 second the fact that all 3 of those teams you mentioned lost to other Premier League teams. Wherever they are in the table, they all lost to fellow Premier League teams. It's not like West Ham, who just pulled a lose to League One. Those 3 teams lost to Premier League sides. Arsenal lost to a team that is arguably better than them in Manchester.
And they're also like the hottest team in England right now.
Yeah, sorry, that's really rough. Liverpool lost a tight match to Wolves that they did rotate on, but they were like 6 inches from a Shaqiri free kick from being level in that match.
And to a team who's being called the best promoted team ever.
Yes, and then Tottenham coming in a stretch where they have to play 11 matches 4 matches in 11 days, said, well, we want to finish top 4, so we got to take the 2 Premier League matches seriously. We're in the
It feels like 11 matches.
Yeah, it does. We're in the semifinals of the League Cup. We should probably take that seriously. When are we supposed to rotate our already depleted squad? I guess we're going to do it during the FA Cup. Now, that doesn't excuse the performance, but It's like, what else are you going to do? Like, at that point, all of these losses, while not great, and certainly all winnable games, are all defensible. And it's a shame that it shows what a catch-22 Premier League teams are, especially teams like Liverpool and Spurs and Arsenal even, in that if you go for it and you don't make the final and then you don't make the top six, it's, well, another down year for Arsenal or whatever. Or, Liverpool, they fought hard in the FA Cup, but it cost them down the stretch and they lost the title by 2 points to City, whatever. So you're either damned that way or you still try, but you rest your players and because you're trying to win the fucking Premier League. And it's, well, why aren't they paying more respect to the FA Cup? It's like, make up your fucking minds. Like you can have one or the other. You can't have both. Thank you, Premier League schedulers and English football schedulers. Like, you can't do that. Personally, and I will end my rant with this, I would like to just see them scrap the League Cup. I know they won't because money. Scrap the League Cup, start the FA Cup earlier, spread it out more, get this fixture congestion out, because we're now playing 2 domestic cups in a time where the top teams are also having to play in the International Champions Cup. And that starts their season even earlier with matches that don't fucking matter. So you look at it, Premier League teams now have like 2 months off, maybe, between the end of their season and the start of the next one. Baseball players have 4 months off. NFL has like 6.5 months off. NBA, I think, has like 4 or 5 months off, or 3 or 4 months off. Soccer players have like 2 months off. And if, God forbid, it's an even number year and you're in the World Cup or Euros, like, then you're just fucked. So it's too much. I know they can't scrap the League Cup because money, but it's too much. So that's my fun piece I've had brewing for the last 5 days. What would you like to talk about, Wes?
Well, actually, my supervisor at work, folks, this is Eastern North Carolina. He's a big NASCAR fan.
Oh, yeah.
And we kind of jokingly said today, Daytona's coming up in a few weeks. I said, it seems like the season just ended about 3 weeks ago. I said, it kind of reminds me of soccer. I said, it ends at the end of May and starts in August. Yeah. NASCAR ends at the end of November and starts in February. So, those two actually have a lot in common. Yeah. That's about it. But anyway, that's as far as it goes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Where Ian Dark's coming from, English journalists especially an older generation of English journalists, and an older generation of fans, they have this view, and I see this on the Liverpool boards all the time, where, Liverpool fans like myself, maybe this younger generation, we're like, look, we de-emphasize the 2 cups, but we're making a run at the league, we're in the final 16 of the Champions League, isn't that more important? And you get the old timers. Well, obviously, you don't remember when we were challenging for all 4. Why can't we do that? Have we lowered our standards? And, you want to look back and you're like, there was a time in the 70s and the 80s, Liverpool won the treble. They won the FA Cup. They won the league. They won the Champions League. It was great. They had years where they won 2-3 trophies. And that's part of what built the Liverpool mystique. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, Europe back then was not what Europe is now. No. It was, basically the entire tournament was home and away, home and away, home and away. Mm-hmm. And you played you played about 5 rounds, but you didn't have the round robin. You didn't have all that before Christmas where, you're playing 6 matches. Mm-hmm. You didn't have TV determining, you got to play this one, and this one, and you're playing on Wednesday and then Saturday. And, matches were a little more evenly spread out, and most teams played on Saturdays. Mm-hmm. It was a lot more predictable to be able to do things. Also, back then, you didn't have City, starting an arms race.
Yeah.
You didn't have the movement that you have today. It was a different time, people. You know what you also didn't have in the 1980s? Have personal computers on every person in the world.
Yeah.
And by that, I mean that little cell phone that we all hold that's powerful than like any home computer that anyone had in 1985. It was a different time. It's a different, I mean, the sport, it's like all sports. Yes, they're basically the same now, but everything is different to an extent.
Yeah.
So you can't just stick to, we used to compete for all four. Why can't we now? What's more important to you? You want to lift the League Cup, or do you want to take a legitimate shot and go win the league?
Well, and
or
that's
take
just
a legitimate shot and go win the champion.
And that's just like that Reddit post I showed you. There was the guy from Spurs saying, oh yeah, I remember winning the cup in I think it was 2008, and I remember about 2 months later we finished 11th, and it's like, yeah, that was great, we won the cup, but finishing 11th really sucked. And it's like, trophies can only do, like, those trophies can only do so much. And I think there's also a little bit of the rose-tinted glasses thing with looking back at how magical cup runs can be like that.
Well, and, you get these, jaded Liverpool fans who, Klopp hadn't won anything. The last manager who won a trophy for Liverpool was Kenny Dalglish. Mm-hmm. King Kenny, we love the guy. He's a knight. He's our greatest ever player/person to ever come out of the club. Mm-hmm. You know what happened the year he won the League Cup? We didn't make the Champions League and he got fired. But he won it. But he won a trophy.
Hey.
That's the last time we won. We won the League Cup. Great, cool. We didn't make the Champions League and we didn't for another couple of years. It's just it's what's become now. Football's an arms race.
Yeah.
You've got to make the money to put the top teams on the league, on the field. And also the fact that you now basically have a big six means every year 2 of the richest teams, most powerful teams in the world are not going to make the Champions League. Yeah. At least 2. I'll say that, at least 2. Because you never know when Leicester might pop in and 3 aren't going to make it.
Yeah.
If you want to, here's the thing. Especially for Tottenham, especially for Liverpool, basically especially for anyone that's not United in City, because I throw Chelsea in there now too with the way Romans pulled back on the spending. If you don't make the Champions League, you risk losing 3 years if you don't make the Champions League.
Yeah,
because you're going to Europa the next year. That means you're not attracting the budget's going down, which means you've got to fight harder to get back into the Premier League with less resources. Mm-hmm. If you do that, you're basically taking a 3-year dip to come off. I mean, look where Chelsea are right now. Mm-hmm. Chelsea didn't make the Champions League for this year. Money was pulled back, and now Chelsea is fighting, scrapping, and possibly on their way to not making it again. Mm-hmm. They've got all kinds of shit going on there now. I mean, who's so great next year that's going to get them directly right back into it. Mm-hmm. Especially considering the fact that City will strengthen, Liverpool will strengthen. Manchester United right now, I mean, I'm somewhat terrified of United at the moment. Not terrified that they'll beat Liverpool. Obviously, they're not catching Liverpool this year. Mm-hmm. I'm terrified that they may actually figure it out.
Yeah.
And suddenly Manchester is like the center of the world, and then the other 4 of us are just trying to keep up with those 2. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, to me right now, Tottenham, and I'll bring something up that I saw was a very interesting point made this week. Mm-hmm. Right now, Tottenham do not have the monetary resources of City, United, Liverpool, Chelsea, maybe Arsenal. Mm-hmm. They run different than Arsenal. Right now, the biggest thing they can do is get themselves in the Champions League and get to the knockout round.
Yeah.
That's big. Get to the knockout round. Get as much income coming in. Someday you're going to get into the new stadium.
Yes, one day.
Someday it's going to happen. You will get into that stadium someday. Yeah. We promise. At least Daniel Levy promises. Yeah. Someday.
We'll see.
Once that happens, I mean, here's the thing for Tottenham. a few years going. I mean, they've got to pay for that stadium, so it's not going to be, oh, we're in there, purse strings are open. It is crucial for Tottenham to be able to keep that top four status and to be able to keep things at least status quo.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this is somewhat of a golden generation of players for Tottenham. Yes, it will be tragic if they don't win a trophy with this Harry Kane, Dele Alli, Christian Eriksen, Heung-min Son, Vertonghen group. It would suck so bad in the long run. But at the same time, if this is the group that maybe solidifies the next decade of Tottenham football, which means that they become a contender, which means that they have the resources and the means to put themselves firmly into the discussion with City, United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal. Because, I mean, let's be real now. Up until the last few years, it's not like this has been Tottenham's birthright.
Oh, no, not at all.
I mean, it's somewhat been the birthright of the, well, let's put it this way, before oil money flowed into City, it was kind of the birthright. It was Tottenham. I mean, they might pop up once in a while, but I mean, like you said, too, they finished. I mean, this isn't like it's a birthright for Tottenham. No, this has been Tottenham doing amazing business over the last decade and dragging themselves into this conversation. Well, now the thing is, they've got to keep themselves in this conversation.
Sure, absolutely.
And as much as I hate to say it, because I have said I want to see Tottenham win a trophy, winning the League Cup doesn't guarantee that you're staying in this top four conversation. And right now, for Tottenham, it is massive. It is so big that they keep themselves in the Champions League and get to the knockout round. And yes, that is not sexy. That is not romantic. That is not the spirit of the cup and all that good stuff. But right now for Tottenham, I just think Tottenham especially, it is so crucial that they stay in this.
I have 100% agree.
Interesting thing I saw, and this is an idea for Tottenham, and it's one that they might not like to hear at the moment. And I don't know if they're going to be able to get it anyway at this point due to his contract status. But, Tottenham maybe should have thought of doing something kind of like Liverpool did with Christian Eriksen, that Liverpool did with Philippe Coutinho, which is, that right now, because Harry Kane's a different subject. You're not selling Harry Kane unless there's no other choice, really. Would Tottenham have been benefited to, yes, sell Christian Eriksen, who obviously is the kind of the fulcrum of that team. But if you get £100+ million for Christian Eriksen, everybody, well, Liverpool sold Coutinho. Yeah, and Liverpool got Van Dijk, they got Naby Keita, and they got Alisson with the Coutinho money. Good trade.
Yeah.
Would it have behooved Tottenham to maybe think of doing the same thing? Where obviously opening up capital to go into the transfer market has been an issue for them. Would it have been, and could it still be in the future? Yes, you give up this fantastic player, this magnificent piece you have, but it can strengthen your team all around. That's just something Tottenham may need to think about. Let's say you can just look at Liverpool and see where, that strategy isn't completely crazy. It's just Tottenham have to avoid, kind of like Liverpool, the Luis Suarez sale, Tottenham have to avoid what they did in the Gareth Bale sale and go buy shit. And for Liverpool, they were able to go and get elite players with the funds they raised for Coutinho. Where what we saw them do after Suarez and Tottenham after Bale was just go out and, well, hey, we got $100 million. Let's buy $100 million worth of players. We didn't say how good they got to be. We're just going to bring in numbers. But, if Tottenham could go and get two really, really good players who, look at where Liverpool's reinvesting their money. They're reinvesting in guys ready to take that step to be a star, but are still young enough to have some development time. That's the kind of guy that Tottenham needs to look for. I mean, that is what Tottenham looks for, don't get me wrong. I mean, Tottenham's not going to go out and blow it on just hypothetically a 33-year-old Ronaldo,
Yeah, sure.
We'll bring back Gareth Bale. That's not what that. Yeah, that's definitely not what they need. They need to go find one of those big time 24-year-olds at Borussia Dortmund who are ready to explode on the scene. That's the guy Tottenham goes and gets, and they can go get 2 of them, maybe even 3 of them with that money. So it's just a thought out there. It was kind of thrown out there this week. Could be a solution to some of the problems for Tottenham right now.
No, I agree, and I would caution against right now Eriksen, thank God we didn't sell him this January because he is pretty much our only body left. But I do think it's an interesting discussion to have, and as much as I would hate to see Eriksen go, if we could reinvest that money wisely, I think with the amount of money we could potentially get for him, I think it could be a great thing. Now, I will say the only difference I can kind of see between Coutinho and Eriksen is I think Eriksen, as of right now, seems to still really fit what Pochettino wants to do, and I don't know that Coutinho quite fit that well. Coutinho felt, even though he was a great player, felt more expendable once Klopp came in with his system, if that makes sense.
I think we've had that discussion before. Yeah. We had that discussion right after he came. I made the point. I said I don't really think Coutinho's a Klopp player.
Right. So I think there is a little bit of a difference there in how much you want to sell him. But I don't disagree with if you can reinvest that money, it might not be a terrible idea. But I do love Christian, so that would suck. But yeah, it's a good thing to talk about, and we'll have to keep talking about it because Tottenham again will be going. I can't imagine they're going to win a trophy this year, so that's going to keep coming up. Yay! Because
really, right now they're the biggest one. The best chance they have, strangely to say, it is probably the Champions League right now.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Just because it is still an elimination tournament, and Liverpool just. Now Tottenham got some help this. With City coming back to the pack, Liverpool coming back a little bit with their draw, but that just doesn't look like it's gonna.
No, I would rather if I had to just push for one, to actually say, we can win that. I would say the Champions League seems better, just because especially even though Dortmund has been really good this year, I think Dortmund, depending on what team we can field, I think Dortmund's beatable over 2 legs from us.
It's just going to depend on who's back for Tottenham.
Yeah, and then after that, if you do get past there, it's then who's left to do that?
Because 8 of them are going to be gone.
Yeah,
you get into the final 8, you guys get a chance anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's our FA Cup talk. Strangely enough, that'll happen around February 16th, that whole weekend, which would have been right after our first leg against Borussia Dortmund. So hey. Probably wouldn't have cared about that match anyway. Yay, Champions League. Can't wait. It's exciting. That's the big one. And then
just so you know, I've canceled my ESPN Plus.
Good. You got value out of it. You got some value out of it, though. That's good.
Sure.
That's good.
I watched Liverpool and Tottenham lose. It was great.
We can watch Derby continue, though. Get Fat Frank going on there. Anyway, let's
Harry Wilson.
Let's keep talking about the Premier League here, since we should jump into that. Real quick, since we've already talked a lot, real quick through some of these matches we're definitely not going to talk about. Arsenal gets past Cardiff 2-1. It was a late goal from Cardiff in the 93rd minute that made it look a little closer, but Arsenal controlled it pretty well throughout. Fulham, nice comeback win for them with 4 goals in the second half to beat Brighton 4-2. It was an early Glenn Murray brace, but this was a game Fulham absolutely needed to win. And they have given themselves maybe a fighting chance of getting out of the relegation zone at some point. Struggles continue for West Ham. I was reading before I came on. Pablo Zabaleta hinted at some discord in the West Ham locker room with Marko Arnautovic not actually leaving, but it looked like he was going to leave for China for some reason. But anyway, Wolves, they're still really great. They beat West Ham 3-0. Everton beats Huddersfield 1-0 thanks to a third-minute goal from Richarlison. And then on Wednesday, Southampton Crystal Palace drew 1-1. Wilfred Zaha picked up a red card in that one. Bournemouth, I guess this is where we can start. Bournemouth spanked Chelsea 4-0, and Sarri threw his players under the bus again, and shit's fucked. So good for you guys. I can't believe we fucking lost to Chelsea in the League Cup. But that's okay. Because holy shit, Wes, for I believe the second time in 2 or 3 weeks.
About 2 weeks. Yeah, about 2 weeks.
No, okay, so it's the second. So because of the FA Cup last weekend, there was a week in between, but their last 2 league matches, 6-0 combined against Arsenal and Bournemouth, and 2 of bus throws by Sarri. And so we actually haven't talked, I guess, since Sarri first threw his players under the bus. Now he's done it again. Right. Holy shit, Chelsea, again, if not for that League Cup victory against Tottenham, are completely falling apart, at least in the Premier League campaign, Wes, something you were alluding to earlier in the pod.
But they might win a trophy.
Yay, trophies. Woo.
Oh, never mind, they have to play City.
Yeah, exactly. They're fine.
I mean, Bournemouth, I didn't get to see any of it today. I just when I was keeping an eye on the Liverpool match, I flipped over, I was like, holy shit, Chelsea's in trouble.
Yeah.
Apparently Higuain barely touched the ball today. He's in. And I mean, with Higuain, it's going to come. Somebody's got to get him the ball. I mean, the guy is he is a definite scorer. We know that.
Yes.
I mean, he's done it everywhere he's ever gone. Mm-hmm. And even when they say he's not very good, he's still banging in goals. So, but he got apparently just zero today, as far as any sort of service. Mm-hmm. And right now, a Chelsea squad, which excuse me. Back in October, we're running right up there with Liverpool and Man City as, it's a 3-team race. They're undefeated. Oh, sorry, ball is taking over. This was the best hire ever to right now. I'm almost willing to take a bet if Sarri will see the season out.
It's weird to think about that, but I mean, the way he's just... He might have just completely lost the dressing room in 3 weeks. It's crazy.
And that's the thing. I don't think there was ever any discussion of, we need to get rid of Sarri. I mean, we always thought, it was going to take Sarri a little bit of time just because he was going to turn over that roster.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that was the issue so much as just suddenly, shit, man, you can't lose the locker room.
Yeah.
You lose the locker room, then why the hell should we even bother back next year? They hate you. Sarri has taken a lot of grief over Jorginho. God, there's some guys who just aren't built for the Premier League.
Yeah.
Jorginho suddenly looks like one of those guys, there's some passes in, but he's not fast. He's not physical. He just doesn't do a lot of the things that you need your engine to do in the midfield. Not only that, but he displaced in the position he's playing, basically forced out, I'll say it, the best defensive mid in the world in N'Golo Kante.
Yeah, certainly the Premier League.
He basically had the best player in his position in the world. Now, this guy, and so you're going to go play somewhere else where you're still good.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're nowhere close to the best player in the world there. It's like, so instead of having the ultra elite of the, so it's, I got a good one here. And, one thing with Sarri, I mean, man, what have we talked about for years? Oh, you got to have B. Brother, I'll tell you, I don't know if Sarri knows what B is in the alphabet.
Yeah.
They play the same system come hell, high water, whether they're playing Leyton Orient or Manchester City. They're going to play the exact same system, and they're going to do the exact same thing. The thing is, if they're able to beat you with it, then, I mean, if they're good on the day with it, they can be very tough. But, man, I mean, they are so predictable at this point. And, I mean, I think that's a lot of it. I think teams have just figured out what they want to do right now. Quite have the personnel to just out-personnel you.
Right.
Like they have in the past. And, I mean, people for the last few years have been getting on Klopp and say, Well, suddenly, you know what? He's gone and got personnel, and shit, Liverpool can play 4-3-3. Liverpool play a lot of 4-2-3-1. We've seen them go 3 at the back. All these things, and with Chelsea, it's no 4-3-3, 4-3-3, 4-3-3. Don't care. I've got N'Golo Kante. Don't care. Not going to do anything to get him in. Don't care. He's going to play. He's going to play on the left. And I mean, it's just, to me, it is just freaking crazy. But I mean, that's where they are right now. And you know, as for them, to me, I think right now Manchester United are definitely, I think, the favorite to get that 4th spot. I'm still not totally convinced on United, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But I think I'm becoming just less and less convinced with Chelsea and Arsenal.
Yeah, that plays a part, yeah.
And I think United are going to pip them to that 4th spot. And that'd be Chelsea and Arsenal missing Champions League for 2 straight years each.
Yikes.
Of course, you know, I believe both of them. So, I mean, there's still that out there.
Right.
And that might have to be what it turns into by the end of the year for one of them. You know, for Europa this year, you know, last year, you know, we talked about wanting to see Arsene Wenger go all the way to the final and lose. You know, there is no Atletico Madrid sitting in Europa this year.
Right.
You know, there was no really, really good team that we knew who just didn't happen to, you know, get out of their group this year. I mean, there's Napoli, but, you know, I don't think Napoli really gives that big a shit about Europa. They never have in the past anyway. So, well, sorry. So, you know, I think there's a chance, especially I'd say more for Arsenal than Chelsea at this point. But I think there's a chance one of them could maybe qualify through that. But man, I mean, you're looking at 2 of the biggest clubs in the world who, for 2 straight years, are probably not going to make the Champions League.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what we talked about earlier with budgets and, you know, being able to attract players. And, you know, for Chelsea, now I think unless something just totally goes off at Chelsea or at Arsenal, Unai Emery's safe. You know, I mean, because I think he's done a good job with what he's had this year. And he needs to be able to add. Will he be able to? There's the next question. But I think Emery's fine. Man, sorry though. Like we just talked about, if he loses the locker room plus just the notorious Chelsea trigger finger, I mean, Chelsea could be looking for another new manager, which means that all the money they put to Jorginho, suddenly, you know, well, that's not a guy we need. $70 million back for him after this year.
Well, and it's kind of the same thing about Higuain. I mean, this is
well,
another
luckily
start
Higuain coming over. Now,
on a loan. That is a loan. You're right.
So that's
right.
You know, that's helpful for them at least. You know, they're not married to Higuain from here on out.
Sure.
But you know, Jorginho, I mean, unless Sarri gets another job somewhere and convinces somebody to stump up a shit ton of money for him. You know, so for Chelsea, suddenly it's another summer, another new manager, and another, you know, well, we got to rebuild the squad again.
Yeah.
And now you've got the whole thing around, you know, we'll talk about a little bit, you know, Callum Hudson-Odoi, the fact that you've got these high-end young players that Chelsea, like, refuses to blood in.
Yeah.
Just because the trigger is so damn quick that, I mean, I don't totally blame Sarri. You know, I mean, Sarri's trying to make it the next year.
Win now.
You know, where Poch and Klopp and, you know, Pep, you know, those guys can sit and, you know, Poch can bleed in a Harry Winks.
Yeah, or a Kyle Walker-Peters, yeah.
Or Kyle Walker-Peters. You know, Klopp can do it with Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and, you know, Phil Foden, they can do it at City. The City's kind of a little different than those other 2 we just talked about. But, you know, Poch and Klopp are not worrying about their job if something just goes wrong because they played some young guys. They're not worried about their jobs. Where, you know, Sarri's over, shit, you know, if I have a bad run, I might be seat. You know, even at United, you know, Louis van Gaal was given room to blood in young players. You know, I think if he had done it, Mourinho would have been given room to do it. I think even Solskjaer, you know, he's established, hey, Marcus Rashford is my number 1 up top, and I'm going to go with him. And, you know, we're going to live. And I think Solskjaer has been given that little bit of leeway to be able to do something like that. But at Chelsea, I mean, God almighty, how many of these young players are going to leave Chelsea and go somewhere else and be good players just because they didn't get a chance?
Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin De Bruyne, Mo Salah.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, basically the two best players in the league last year.
Yeah.
You know, Chelsea just didn't have patience with them. This Callum Hudson-Odoi, there's been other ones who've gone. Now, City, you know, you do have young players leaving City, but that's still for a different reason.
Mm-hmm.
That's not because that pressure of if I don't perform today, I'm going to lose my job is there. It's just, man, you know, we spent so much money on the first team, we've got all these world-class players.
Right.
You know, it's hard to justify dropping an 18-year-old in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm really starting to worry for the future at Chelsea. It could. I don't think he's on his feet yet,
mm-hmm.
but after the last few weeks and with what's happened in the locker room, if he can't turn around and he misses the Champions League,
mm-hmm.
I think we could be looking for a new Chelsea manager in the summer.
Absolutely crazy.
And don't forget everything that they had to all who.
Yeah.
Or he was the guy.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, first day of camp, it was still Conte in training.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Oh my God, this is bizarre.
I mean, it is. It's crazy.
Tottenham with another come from behind win, just as they did about 10 days ago at Fulham. They win 2-1 at home, quotes, against Watford. They had to come back from an early goal off a set piece from Craig Cathcart in the 38th minute, but in the final 10 minutes, they scored twice thanks to newly returned Heung-min Son, who doesn't have to play all the way to the final in the Asian thing he was doing. And then Fernando Llorente, he did something right again. Yeah. He won. Yeah, exactly. He won the match with his head in the 87th minute for Tottenham to give them a 2-1 victory. So Wes, obviously big important match there for Tottenham when you couple it with some of the other results. Mm-hmm. But just really the biggest thing I think it does is stabilize. Not that the locker room was, I think, going to get out of hand or anything, but it's just nice for the air maybe around the locker room to get a little better after the rough week.
It calms down the narrative.
Yeah.
You know, it gives you a few days where it's like, oh God, doom and gloom. It's like, no, we won.
It's fine.
You know, hey, we play again this weekend, but till then, we're cool. Things are okay.
Exactly.
You know, and then of course it helped that Chelsea did what they did, and United dropped points, and you know,
everybody around them except Arsenal dropped points. That's good.
Yeah.
One of those teams is United, as Wes mentioned, are one of the hottest teams in the league, and they almost dropped more as it took them 2 goals in the final 5 minutes of the match to come back at home against Burnley. 2-0 was the scoreline after Chris Wood almost improbably made it 2-0. And all of us were dreaming, oh my God, is this how the run actually ends? The unbeaten run under Skarsgård with the Burnley at home. But United comes back thanks to a penalty in the 87th minute. And then, of all people, Victor Lindelof, the not oft-played player this year who came in this summer, he scores in the 92nd minute to get United a point at home. And Wes, this is another point where you look at it, the way they're creeping up again on that 4th place. This is one of those points after Chelsea dropped all 3 points. This is a big point to keep United in that discussion, which they are now dominating for 4th place.
It is, and you know, kind of a deja vu thing at United. You know, this has been called Fergie time forever, and during his playing days, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was one of the poster boys of Fergie time because he was the super sub. That was his job. He came on the last 20 minutes and rescued you points. Mm-hmm. So kind of fitting that they do get one of those here late. And, you know, for Burnley, I mean, they gave them everything they had. And at the end of the day, it was just, I mean, United found a couple of goals. And they were very well taking goals. Deserved, even though they did to come. Everything I've read says it was a deserved point for United.
Yeah.
So they stay hot, if not as scorching hot. Obviously, not winning again, but you know they keep themselves firmly in the area to challenge for the top 4. And right now for them, that's what they just need to be doing is racking up points, and they keep it up. So a good match from United. Good draw. When you come from 2 down that late, everything's a good draw.
Yay. Big good draws for United there. Another United may have just completely turned the tables on this title race, which, if they had not done it, the narrative would be a little bit different right now in certain parts of the world that are about 30 minutes from Manchester. But Newcastle does the deed. Rafa, what we thought on Tuesday was won the league for Liverpool. Yet again, Newcastle, though, beats City 2-1. They got out early, City did, with an Aguero goal in the very first minute, just 30 seconds in. They took the early lead, but Solomon Rondon, with one of his few goals coming on this season for Newcastle, picked one up in the 66th minute with a well-timed strike, and then Matt Ritchie with the penalty in the 80th minute gave Newcastle all 3 points. City were wasteful in offense. Their passing has not been as crisp as it has been, especially last season, but all of a sudden, City look beatable. And not even like this is, of course, coming after their 9-goal shellacking of multiple teams, and here they are. They go to Newcastle and they drop humongous points on the road.
Don't you ever forget, Ed Green, Rafa is a red.
There you
go. My favorite thing I saw someone say is I finally figured out how to help.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the thing is, man, Newcastle often overlooked, and for damn good reasoning. I mean, coming into the match, people were. I mean, there is serious talk around Newcastle now. Some things may have changed because it looked like they're actually getting players in. I mean, there was talk that Rafa was going to play before it was over, and no one would blame him for it.
Mm-hmm.
Severe. You want to talk about funding?
Yeah.
I mean, it is crazy. Mike Ashley's been trying to sell the team forever, money into it. But it's crazy because I went out and hired, what's known as a pretty elite manager in the world. I went out and hired him. I mean, it's basically like hiring Richard Petty and telling him to go race in a Ford Pinto. I mean, what the hell are you doing here?
Mm-hmm.
But on his day, I mean, Rafa knows what he's doing. He knows how to set up a team. And sort of like we saw with Liverpool today, Liverpool earned from it like they did. They score a goal very early and then just can't get anything else to go the rest of the day. Like Liverpool, they enjoyed the bulk of possession.
Mm-hmm.
Just couldn't find any, couldn't find that final killer ball to get into the goal. And, as I was watching the tracker on that match, I watched the 15 minutes on the tracker, and it's like, okay, when's it coming? When's it coming? When's it coming? And suddenly when that thing went final, I was like, oh, my God. And, these are matches that regular teams, they lose. You can't win every match. City set such an unbelievable marker a season ago, and Liverpool are setting such an unbelievable marker this season that it's like when you do lose a match, people are losing their minds. Oh, how could you lose? But people fucking lose matches. I mean, either Liverpool or City is going to end up with 90 this year. 90-plus points probably, and not win the Premier League.
Yeah.
It's just an insane rate that these two teams are playing at. So it's hard to really tear into City after this loss. Okay, wow, you lost the match at Newcastle. People have done it for years.
Yeah.
St. James Park can be a tough place to play. Is it always? No, because Newcastle aren't consistent for anything. But, on their day, City just kind of felt the brunt. Yeah. City, they felt it at a time. So, everything's sitting there, and we are such an extreme reactive society.
Oh, yeah.
That, every loss is immediately doomed.
Mm-hmm.
Every loss is immediately the end of the world. People just can't wait to see how anything plays out anymore. Everything is in. Oh, Jesus Christ. And that's just kind of how it's going for City today. Is it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know what? City might not win the Premier League. They will go down as runner-up if they don't win the Premier League this year. Because once again, they're still going to score 90-plus points. But it's just a tough day at the office. They scored in the first minute. Couldn't get another one to go. Shit happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you mentioned, Wes, that's more or less not quite the same result, though, as what happened with Liverpool as they took on Leicester City. Liverpool scoring just 3 minutes into the match thanks to Sadio Mane. Leicester had not even touched the ball before Liverpool scored their opening goal. And that goal happened, and then Twitter informed me, well, these defenses, I don't know what they're in for today. It's going to be a wide open game. Neither of these defenses look like playing much today, and blah 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 blah. Final 1-1.
1-1.
Thanks, Twitter. But Harry Maguire did pick out a goal in the 45th minute into stoppage time there in the first half, as he was flicked on, and then just easily gets it past Alisson. Just nothing really he could have done about that. But Maguire does score to level things up, and Leicester leaves Anfield with a point, and what could have been a 7-point cushion in the Premier League is now just 5. So West Liverpool do extend their lead over City, but not maybe by as much as they would have wanted to.
Just the difference in those two right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's astronomical.
Yeah.
If you've got a 7-point lead over, basically have a 3-game lead with 14 to go. Instead, they've gotten lead at this point. It's just that 7 gets you over the 6 mark, and it would have been. I think at 7, it would have been a massive Liverpool letdown that gets City back to that title. At 5, we're still more open at 5.
Sure.
That said, if you had said to me going into the week, hey, Liverpool, you're going to actually gain points here this week. Fuck yeah, sign me up. It's just, once again, we're back into what we call the reactive society. The immediate reaction is, 24 hours ago, it's holy shit. All we've got to do is beat Leicester and we won the league. Which wasn't true by any means. It would have been nice. But now here we are. Suddenly we get a point. City loses a point to us this week, and we're pissed about it. Yeah. We're unhappy. We're pissy. We're throwing a fit. But once again, if last week at this time, when of course the world was falling because we're out of the cups, last week this time, hey, when with 14 matches left, well, you're going to pick up a point on City next week. Huh. Sign me up, Buttercup. You got it any day, all day. Sign me up. So, all in all, I think you got to say, hey, successful match day for Liverpool. We actually pushed our lead out farther. Yeah. So, but for Liverpool, it was the same way. I think it was disappointing for City, as you said. I mean, we came out like a on fire. We had three very, very top flight chances in the first 10 minutes. That included the goal. Firmino had a really good chance. I want to say it was Shaqiri had a really good chance early. And those other 2 didn't go in, and they kind of fell into one of those, a little more attrition going forward. We kind of let Leicester find their way into the match. Now, a very controversial moment, which would come back to haunt Liverpool just a few minutes later. Harry Maguire, slab head, as the Anfield Rap called him, the mattress-headed motherfucker. He took down Mane, strung Mane on a one-on-one break. Harry Maguire took him down near midfield maliciously. He got a yellow card for it. A lot of people were screaming that should have been red, just based on the fact that he was the last one. That last line of defense, last man back. If you potentially take somebody down. That's supposed, by letter of the law, that's a red card. I didn't see it, so I'm not going to go into it heavy. Mm-hmm. But that would play a obviously a big moment, as in a few minutes later, just before halftime, Harry Maguire rises up and equalizes with a header.
Yeah.
Which, if there's a red card, so Liverpool can feel a little hard done by that. That said, Andy Robertson gave away a terrible, terrible no need on God's green earth for it foul that led to the free kick that led to that goal going in. So, Andy Robertson, folks, he is human. He is human. Scottish Superman. There is a little humanity. Liverpool did have what I understand, a pretty big shout for a penalty in the second half. Naby Keita getting in the box as he's getting ready to shoot to possibly take the lead. He gets taken down. No call. And Liverpool were unable to find a winner on the day, a 1-1 draw. From what I read, Liverpool were just, after that really hot start, they were just abject when it came to passing the ball around. Didn't look good one bit. A lot of people were saying that the field was not in great shape today. Mm-hmm. Once again, didn't see it, but now it was snowing and sleeting today in the north. It may have been as well in the south. But they said it was raining and sleeting, and that the sleet seemed to have an effect on the playing surface. Mm-hmm. But, at the end of the day, no excuses. You've got to take your chances when you get them. And Liverpool should be going out at home and beating Leicester.
Sure.
So they got no one to blame with themselves. But, once again, at the end of the day, you picked up a point after match day, whatever number this was. I'm not counting.
24.
24. But here you are. If you're a Liverpool fan, what more did you ask for? Other than 2 more points. 14 matches to go on the season. I know Liverpool. Well, are Liverpool setting the all-time pace at this point?
Let's see. Let me.
There was a point where they had the best start in Premier League history.
Let's see something here. 61 divided by 24, okay. 2.5. I remember 2.542. 2.542 times 38. Okay, so if they, given their average points per game right now after today's match, if they continued at that pace the rest of the season, they would finish around 96 to 97 points.
Okay. So they're not quite on the pace of a City a year ago.
But they're very close.
They're looking at maybe 100 points.
Yeah, they would be the second most points all time.
Yeah, seriously. If they can continue that pace, or maybe they beat that pace, who knows? But, with that, you would expect, and as good as they've been at home this year, it was a disappointing all-around performance for Liverpool. That said, we've had disappointing performances where we've gotten the ball. Today, Liverpool, maybe a little unlucky not to get all 3, but maybe at times also lucky not to lose all 3.
Sure.
So, with the City loss, man, take your point. Take your point. Get ready for West Ham. Yeah. That's all I can say. Take the point. We got West Ham Monday. I'll live with it.
Yeah, West Ham not looking so good right now. West Ham. So going on to that schedule as we look ahead here on the weekend, Tottenham's right back to it against that Newcastle team. That'll be at 7:30 a.m. on Saturday morning. At 10 a.m. you get Chelsea versus Huddersfield. Oof, they lose to Huddersfield. You also get Everton versus Wolves, Palace versus Fulham, Burnley versus Southampton, Brighton versus Watford. And then at 12:30 you get Cardiff versus Bournemouth. Yay. Yeah. On Sunday at 9 o'clock you get Leicester versus Manchester United. That could actually be kind of an interesting match now. And then at 11:30 Man City will be hosting Arsenal to see if they can make up some ground. And then at 3 o'clock West Ham does host Liverpool at the London Stadium. Whew, that could be
that'll be a Monday match.
Yes, it will. Monday Night Football on NBC Sports, 3 o'clock. So we take a look at the table now. Liverpool do have that 5-point lead on City. Tottenham, with their win, have crept up to just 2 points back of City for second place. So I don't think Tottenham's in the title race. Not saying that, just they're in that area right now.
The only thing I'd say to that, remember, they got a 7-point lead on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Tottenham are in a better position.
It's true.
There you go.
That's very true. Speaking of those teams, Arsenal and Chelsea both 7 points back of Tottenham for third. They're both at 47 points. United just 2 points back of both of them for what could be a fourth place spot. As we hit the mid-table and drop to the bottom of your heart, the relegation zone, Palace, Southampton, Burnley, all on 23 points, all 4 points clear of the drop zone. So there is a little bit of separation forming. Cardiff right now, as mentioned, are 4 points back with 19 points. Fulham are 6 points back even with their win. Huddersfield 12 points back, looking more and more like they will be the first team out of the Premier League this season. So that will do it for our football talk. As far as matches, let's hit the news and notes. And Wes, when you mention Manchester United and their hot start and under their new manager and everything going on, all of a sudden, coupled with this news, it's like, could United actually make the final 8 of the Champions League? Neymar will be out until the end of March, maybe the rest of the season, with another injury he picked up. I believe it's a foot injury. And he will be missing both Champions League matches against United. So now in 2 years of PSG play, where he came to win the Champions League, he has played in 1 knockout stage match.
Yeah.
1. But so very disappointing for him. And Wes, this as much as this helps Manchester United potentially to beat PSG in the 2 legs, this has got to suck for Thomas Tuchel and this whole PSG experiment that they just cannot catch a break. Not that they necessarily deserve it, but it doesn't seem like they can catch a break at all.
Oi, feck 'em.
Yeah, pretty much. That is true.
It is tough, but at the same time, it's one of those, you can't really feel bad for them.
Don't cry for me, Argentina.
Oh man, we've lost Neymar. What are we gonna do? Oh, yeah, we've got Kylian Mbappe and
Cavani
up front. Jesus God, life's so hard for him, isn't it? I mean, now it is going to be a little more interesting going forward, and they're not. I mean, basically, they are a competition team at this point, as we will understand. I mean, they're not losing. They're not losing by any means. That's not happening. But I mean, this is why they were brought in. This is why they spent this money, is to win the Champions League. And now they're facing a United team that, yes, as we talked about, they are red hot. But at the same time, man, I mean, I don't believe this is a PSG team that is just done by Neymar. What I saw when they beat stage was a team that, yes, Neymar is a part of it as much as you can't stand him. But at the same time, I mean, this is a team, they're really good. Not like Skimp. Yeah. It's not like, we put all our money into. So they put a lot of money into a lot of people. And I just, I think there's a chance for them to still take care of business. Once again, my thing with United is, let me see you do it against one of the top teams. And, well, this is going to be this is going to be against a top side to really see what they have. So, it's not quite as easy as just, United are hot. No, there's still going to be a fight on their hands. Sure. And I think it's a lot closer now. But I still have to believe, just based on their overall performances on the season and what there is to write about, I still believe that PSG are the favorites.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, call me crazy. I just think PSG are still the favorites, though. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, but I mean, I'm not ready to hand it to you.
Mm-hmm.
They've had a nice run of form here, which has been a great run of form. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, at the same time, PSG is still really good.
Yeah,
I think once again, I know I've mentioned it now. This is if we could start a drinking game on saying we're a very reactive society.
Yeah.
So let's not just completely write off PSG with no Neymar, especially because I think that could actually open it for Mbappe to just remind everyone just how damn he is.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's damn good.
He is very, very good.
Trust me. I think if most people play PSG, I think it'd be hard pressed to find people who'd be like, we want Neymar. You can keep Mbappe. No. No.
So yeah, we will see. You are correct. So it's going to be interesting, as always is with PSG. So as we hit some transfer news, again from what we have already, we know things like Alvaro Morata, because of Higuain coming to Chelsea. Morata has completed his move. He will be moving to Spain. Denis Suarez is coming from Spain on a loan deal with an option to buy over to Arsenal. So the 25-year-old will be heading over to see what he can do for Unai Emery's side. But one guy that doesn't look like he's moving, which boggles my mind for a team that is so loan happy. Chelsea are standing firm on Callum Hudson-Odoi not going to Bayern Munich. Maybe they've just finally learned their lesson.
Well, don't forget, they don't want to loan him.
Yeah.
Bayern wants to just straight up buy him.
That is true. Bayern have sent in 4 bids so far, including one that is £35 million, the most recent one. Hudson-Odoi's contract is another 18 months. So the rest of this season and then next season as well. He's only 18. Wes, as you mentioned, Chelsea, not a big fan of playing their youngsters. He certainly hasn't gotten any time. It's very interesting that for what is such a somewhat unknown commodity, that they are being so hesitant to sell him to a non-English side.
Well, but here's another thing. Here's one reason. I mean, right now, what is the hottest thing in world football when it comes to transfers? And that's the Bundesliga going in and getting suddenly, you've got young English superstars suddenly playing in the Bundesliga, and you've got egg all over the face of these Premier League clubs who are losing them for nothing.
Yeah.
With Sancho being Sancho at Dortmund is obviously the poster boy of that right now. And I think right now, I think Chelsea are scared to death. Chelsea have already taken enough PR hits. I think right now they're just terrified that they're going to take another one if Hudson-Odoi goes to Bayern. And of course, you look at it, well, if Bayern want him, he must really be something. And they're terrified that they're going to lose the next Jadon Sancho. And I mean, you look around now, there's just today it looks like Arsenal have one of their young English players on the way to Leipzig, Emil Smith-Rowe, who now it looks like he's on his way, on loan, but it could be a loan with an opportunity to in the future. And right now these young English talents, especially the ones coming through the academies at the Chelseas of the world, the Arsenals, the Manchester Cities, who are not finding a pathway to the first team, which once again we talked about United, Liverpool, Tottenham. They are finding pathways to the first team for their top young players, if they think they're good enough to play, obviously. They're finding that where these other clubs, and they're risking losing these players, which in the long run, you look at it in the homegrown talent quotient. that or quota. You've got to have a certain number. Well, these guys qualify. Also, you're not having to pay transfer fees on these guys, or if 1,000 pounds and getting them from Charlton or somewhere small like that. Liverpool paid I think a couple £1 million for Joe Gomez.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you want to turn around and then lose that guy and then be forced to have to go and buy a 60 million pound player to replace what you could have brought up through your own academy?
Mm-hmm.
And once again, we talked about Tottenham's economics. For them, it's huge to bring these guys through. Where City's like, whatever, we'll just go buy another superstar. Well, Chelsea are suddenly finding it harder to go buy that superstar, and they're losing these guys. It's just like, shit, this is our ready-made talent, basically giving them away. Now, of course, when you start looking at the money for Hudson-Odoi, I think has gotten such big newsmaker with it is because, suddenly they're talking about paying 30 million, 5 million pounds for a guy who's played, 3 senior matches.
Mm-hmm.
That's where this one's becoming such a big deal, where this drain of English talent going to the Bundesliga, so much a drain, I'd say more a pipeline, I think is really the interesting facet of this story to me.
Just amazing. And it doesn't seem like this is going to get resolved until the summer when Chelsea might reopen their mind on this. But this is very, very interesting to me. So we'll see if Chelsea manage to hold on to him and then actually play him. So
and here's another thing to keep an eye on.
Sure.
We talked at length about Sarri earlier that he made a seat. Well, now Sarri's having to juggle. I've got this 18-year-old that we're trying to keep happy because the club does not want to lose this player. But at the same time, Sarri's biggest concern is I've got to keep my.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to find that balance of trying to keep this player and keep him happy, keep him in the loop, but also Sarri's just trying to keep his job for another year.
Yeah.
So this is a potential landmine at every step for Chelsea with this. And the thing is, if they do end up losing him, it's a massive PR hit, especially bam, it's a massive PR hit for him.
Oh, Chelsea, what have you done? So
yeah, this is just so much more than just a
18-year-old
player.
Yeah. So that is going to do it for our transfer talk. Can't wait to see.
Real quick, I just want to throw one in there.
Sure, go ahead.
Miguel Almiron, who was the best player in MLS this year, looks like they're going to break their club transfer record finally.
Yeah.
Of all things, Newcastle's club transfer record is 15 million pounds for Michael Owen in 2006. And they haven't broken it since. Obviously, we talked about Mike Ashley. But Almiron, just the fact that this is an MLS player, a guy who basically made his name in MLS and is going to a Premier League team for potentially 20 million pounds, this is suddenly starting to open the market. And now if Almiron goes over, plays well, Tyler Adams had a magnificent debut for Leipzig in the Bundesliga. We've seen the young Americans go to the Bundesliga. We've seen Pulisic now being the big money coming over to Chelsea from Bayern. This could be kind of the beginning of the American market actually being a worthwhile investment.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
And another, just a quick one. We did somewhat adopt Atlanta as our team this year and talk about them 3 times. But anyway, as they were on their way to a historically great season. Atlanta just signed Pite Martinez, who is coming off leading River Plate to the Copa.
Mm-hmm.
And 25 years old, playmaker, voted the best player in South America. And, was connected with Barcelona, was connected with Real Madrid. Nothing there was ever firm, but you figure a 25-year-old Argentinian who just won the Copa and is the best player in South America. Oh, well, he'll be heading to Spain or he'll be heading to Italy or something. And he chose, no, I want to go to MLS. That's, combine that with Almiron. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Pochettino this week statement, that hey, I would enjoy seeing in America.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's things are starting to look up. I think for MLS, MLS has a chance. Just don't fuck it up.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and being willing to have some of your best players go overseas, and trusting that there's other talent out there that can refill MLS and not have to rely on the Wayne Rooneys of the world. It'll be okay. It's good.
Well, and there's also talk about maybe expanding, or some owners designated player.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I can understand that because it does kind of hold down some of the things you can do. But even if they expanded it to one more slot a team, that would help be able to bring in some of this top level talent as well.
Certainly. And that is huge for them.
MLS.
Yay, we might finally start caring about it. Oh, that's an excellent, excellent eagle right there.
Thank you.
With that, let's hit the watch for. Wes, what have you been watching in the week that was, the week that will be?
Brother, I've been so busy, but I have chance to start watching season 2 of Punisher.
Oh,
on Netflix, and so far I'm 3 episodes in, and I am early pleased. It's
okay.
It is still brutal.
I'm very glad.
I believe it's already been announced that this is going to be the last season. Netflix and Marvel kind of
each
other, and I hate it, man, because I mean I like Punisher, and I know you.
Don't worry, Wes. You'll be able to subscribe to the Disney streaming service and get all of the Marvel shows there.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, I do have a kid, so it may be worth my money to stream Disney one day. I don't know, but I mean, yeah, I guess.
Well, to be fair, I do believe they have said that there is going to be a show that is based around Tom Hiddleston's Loki.
That's cool. The only thing I'm scared about is kind of like with just Marvel itself going to Disney.
Yeah.
Are you going to completely pussify this?
Yeah.
Because Daredevil, all this shit on Netflix was hard.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, fucking Punisher is hard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to end up on Disney and suddenly it's like, hey, Punisher, what's up, buddy? Want to go on down to the candy shop?
Yeah.
I don't mean Mickey showing up on Punisher, which we'll see. But
can the Punisher kill people by snapping his fingers? I don't think so.
Can the Punisher kill people by just overcharging them out the ass?
Yeah, that too.
That'll be Punisher's next job, is selling the magic. Hey, kid, I gotta check your bag. And then he'll break the kid's neck. So
didn't you used to be on The Walking Dead?
Oh, shame. Oh man,
Sorry,
but
Shane.
yeah, I mean, so we'll see. But yeah, I've been impressed with Punisher through 3 episodes so far.
Glad to hear. Of course, the 9-9 is back and has been
9-9
so good, so good. We did have some heartbreaking news this past week though, which technically we knew was coming. We just didn't know exactly, or at least I knew was coming. I just didn't know exactly when it was coming. Have you seen the latest episode?
I have not. I do not have quite my DVR capabilities I did yet.
Okay.
I haven't caught up on it.
All right. So I won't say what happens.
I'll tell you what. I will tell you what, Ed. I will give you 45 seconds of airtime. I will take my headphones off.
Okay.
And I want you to talk about it.
Okay.
Are you ready?
So we'll go in. Let me, because I have an actual clock here. Going 3, 2, 1. Now.
45 seconds. Go.
Okay. So, Gina, we're gonna miss you. We knew it was coming. Chelsea Peretti said she was gonna be leaving this season of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Under good terms, but we love Gina. We love Gina so much. The show won't be the same, but it can still be good. You did Jake dirty in the episode, but you came good in the end. So, Gina, we will see you in the next episode, and then never again. So, we love you, Gina. Good for you. All right. I think I have like 5 seconds left.
All right, Ed, I'm coming back in 5,
Okay.
4,
That was right.
3, 2, 1. I am back.
Okay. All right. We're done.
Did you get everything in that you need to say?
I did.
Fantastic.
So yeah.
I cannot wait to see it.
I'm sure I will get a text from you when it happens. So
Look for maybe Friday. Oh, and I had one.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it yet, but I actually bought my tickets today because they come in limited runs. It is a documentary that Peter Jackson, who did Lord of the Rings and all that, is a documentary done, which has gotten rave reviews. It's called "They Shall Not Grow Old."
Oh.
And it is basically restored and colorized footage of World War One.
Oh, okay.
And it has had limited theaters on just like certain days. I know during, like on Veterans Day it had a run, and it just every single day they've had a run, I've had to work.
Oh God.
I mean, it's like they'll do a day here and then a day. Well, I happen to see today that they're doing a run. It's on Friday. I'm off on Friday. I have no responsibilities. At 1:45 on Friday, I'm going to watch.
Yay!
And I'm extremely excited. I've literally wanted to see it. So I'm excited about that. I will give a mini review next week as I break down. No spoilers as I'll break down one.
Yay! Also,
don't worry, folks. I won't tell you who won.
Yeah.
But the fact that we speak English may give it away.
That's true. Also, real quick, season 3's finale of The Good Place took place this past Thursday. There's one moment that actually made me cry, which is hilarious in a way, because the line that made me cry is an actual joke. But it's said, and this will probably mean nothing to you, Wes Bradshaw, because you don't watch, but it's said by Kristen Bell as she is crying. And I quote, because I have it in front of me, "It's not a joke, I'm a legit snack." That's the line. She is a snack, and that line made me cry. Oh my. Oof. Oof, 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 oof.
She is a snack. I personally love me some Kristen Bell.
Oh, she's great.
I am actually going to my hot list right now, and Kristen Bell sits number 8 on my hot list.
That's
on my love list. We'll put.
Oh, Wes.
Between yes,
Wes. Before we hit the So Raw, why don't you tell us who's 7 through 1 on there?
7 through 1. Okay, so 8, 7. Gal Gadot, however you want to say it. Fucking Wonder Woman, dude.
Yes,
love her. I watched Justice League for the first time a few weeks ago. It's a hideous movie. She's so hot. I love her. Number 6, Mrs. Ryan Reynolds. Deadpool, Blake Lively. Number 5, the ultra lovely. Number 4, the ultra lovely Anakin.
Yeah, okay. That's
thing from a little nerd girl there. Number 3, A Blast from the Past, Trish Stratus.
Yeah, okay.
Still gets my blood pumping. Number 2, I can say it now because my Amazon thing is upstairs. Alexa Bliss. 5 Feet of Fury herself. And number 1, felt so bad for her this morning standing outside in the cold of Minnesota. NBC's own Dylan Dreyer. That's right. And has not been added to the Campbell. I have a type, Ed. They're called tiny blonde weather girls.
Yes.
I love most all of them. Kristen Bell comes in 8 on the love list.
Hey, that's not a bad spot though. So you mentioned Alexa Bliss. That's the segue into So Raw we were looking for. So take it away.
Okay, folks. I'm gonna give you just some match this week, and then we got some major news that actually hit the wire yesterday. Okay, Royal Rumble this past weekend. I have yet to watch it, folks. I'm sorry. Shoot me in the face. Work sucks when I have to work. And they always do the Royal Rumble when I can't, or they always do pay-per-views lately when I just can't watch them. My timing is bad. If they'd done it this Sunday, I'd be fine because I have nothing else to watch. Fuck you, Super Bowl. But the winner of the men's Royal Rumble match was Seth Rollins. The winner of the women's Royal Rumble match was Becky Lynch. Daniel Bryan retained his title. Brock Lesnar retained his world title. Asuka and Ronda Rousey both retained. So on Monday night, that meant Royal Rumble winners got to choose who they wanted to face at WrestleMania. Seth Rollins has chosen Brock Lesnar. A Rollins-Lesnar match. I am trying to think if we got one of these. I don't think they did a one-on. Now, I know when Rollins won his first title was at WrestleMania, he cashed in the Money in the Bank during a match with Roman Reigns, and Brock Lesnar actually pinned Roman Reigns to win that title. I don't think we've ever gotten a one-on-one Lesnar-Rollins, and I might be wrong, but, so that's going to be your men's main event at WrestleMania for the Universal title, Rollins versus Lesnar. And then I'm going to tell you one. This is going to be something, because we were supposed to get a few months ago and kind of went haywire, and we did. Becky Lynch is challenging Ronda Rousey.
Oh, boy.
For the Raw Women's title. And, man, I mean, Becky Lynch right now, talked about some. Becky Lynch might just be the best pure performer right now in WWE. Just because of the way that she's carried herself, the character she's doing, this kind of tweener heel face that she's doing now. She's kind of got this air. Steve Austin / Roddy Piper. It's like she's a little crazy, and then she's just like a little badass who playing any of the tropes of, oh, I'm a good guy, past that, which is, thank God, because that was getting so stale with her. But her versus Rousey, I mean, that could really, really just steal the show with how over Becky Lynch is. So we're looking forward to that. The big news that hit the wire, Dean Ambrose, who obviously, we talked about Dean Ambrose forever. I mean, remember, folks, one of the first major events when this show started was the breakup of the Shield, and ever since then, obviously, a big part of So Raw has been the journey of Dean Ambrose. It's announced, WWE's announced Dean Ambrose is not going to re-sign with WWE when his contract is up in April.
Oh, my.
Now, a lot of people, that means he's... I think that's a very good possibility. He jumps. Also, the possibility possibly that he could just Japan and Japan. There are options out there now for guys. The thing with Ambrose is going to become one of the first ones in recent memory who was a top WWE guy, just like, I don't want to resign. Now there have been guys who maybe WWE didn't have anything for him. Cody Rhodes, who has become just huge on the independent scene, is one of the principal guys in the new AEW. When Cody Rhodes asked and received his release from WWE, it was because he was completely buried in the lower mid card in a character that he didn't like, in a character that the fans didn't really care for at the time. Just over, he had no storyline. That was one thing. Chris Jericho, who's gone on, Jericho kind of comes and goes. That's just how Jericho is. Jericho comes in, runs. And for Ambrose, a guy who has recently been WWE champion, is involved in high-profile feuds, has had a huge character change here recently, was obviously in the Shield. To me, this is a big one. This could be the first, big guy who's left to potentially jump to AEW. Now, Ambrose, it has been, said before, Ambrose is kind of a personality-wise. He's not your typical WWE. I was a great college athlete, and I'm proud to be here, da-da-da. Ambrose has always kind of walked his own path and done things differently anyway. So I don't know if this is going to become a trend, but, if Dean Ambrose becomes one of their top guys, the one thing that we've talked about WCW losing and shutting down was no one had a real legitimate second option. Dean Ambrose could prove, hey, out there, for guys that's not WWE. and that will do nothing but improve the product.
Mm-hmm.
Because that could force WWE have to get better, not be able to rest on their laurels because, got top talent. But, man, suddenly these guys have an option where, if we're not using them, they're not beholden to us. And the rise of New Japan has helped, and AEW could be the next one. Could maybe be the first guy to exploit that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pulling for him. I like Dean Ambrose. I like the character. I like the guy who he is regularly. I hope it works out. So, but that's kind of the big news going around. Royal Rumble results.
Oh my! Oh,
so wrong.
I also saw Nakamura tweeted out WCW today. That was interesting.
I wonder, was it his woman crush?
I didn't. It was. That's what I thought. It was literally just a tweet. Let me see if I can find Mr. Nakamura on the Twitter.
I only say it because there is. You can say that there is no WCW anymore.
Yeah. Fuck. Oh my god. Where is this? Do you know what his Twitter handle is? Because I don't actually know.
God, I cannot remember it.
Is it this? I got it. Yeah, it's literally it just says WCW. That's his most recent tweet from today. Just literally says WCW.
I have no idea. I have no idea. We'll just have to see going forward.
Yeah, it's fine. It's probably just he's his own woman crush Wednesday.
Yeah, there you go.
We love you, Shinsuke. All right, so that is going to do it for episode 247 of the Four of the Year podcast. Once again, big shout outs to our sponsors, including NGSC Sports, as well as Alicia's Pillows and Things, as well as all our podcast providers, including Podbean.com, Stitcher, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, the TuneIn Radio app, Google Play Music, the iTunes Music Store, and iHeartRadio. You can check them out on the social medias. You can also check us out there on Twitter. We are at AFA Pod as a collective. Wes, you're...
I'm at West Bradshaw 21.
I am at Edward Green. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube via our parent show, The All New Sports Show. You can email us at that address, allnewsportshow@gmail.com. So we'll be back next week to recap this week in the Premier League. Any crazy transfers that happen, we'll have. And then, let me think, what is next week as far as dates? Because I don't think anything else is happening.
We'll have a run of Premier League matches, but
yeah. So we'll do the Premier League matches, and then the week after our next pod will be the restart of the Champions League. So we could do a really quick little preview of the matches to come there. So we'll have that and plenty more, I'm sure, to come on the next episode of the AFA pod. But before we get out of here tonight, Wes, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Folks, like we said, don't watch the Super Bowl. The worst reason. Watch it because, as I'm contractually mandated to say, Todd Gurley was the first ever guest on Now Defined Sports Show, which was myself and Ed Green's first foray into a weekly show.
Yeah.
Todd Gurley was our first guest, so now he's coming full circle, and he's going to win the Super Bowl, win the MVP, and bring it on our Now Defunct show.
Yeah.
Because he promised he'd bring us the Heisman.
Oh, so we're gonna have to. I wonder if that building or that room in the old power plant building is being rented by anybody.
I'm quite sure it's open.
Or you just break in and just set up a camera and be like, "Hey, Todd, just sit here on this incredibly crappy chair on this very wobbly desk and just talk to us for about 20 minutes."
We'll find somewhere to play it.
Oh, yes, we would.
I believe I may be a future co-host of the morning show.
Yes. Oh, you're going to have to tell me when you're on, because I will wake up early to watch that. That would be very enjoyable. I would call in for that. So
I just want to talk about Rocky Mount City Council.
I would have been okay if you had talked about Rocky Mount City Council.
See, you would enjoy watching me do it because you know it. Care.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who care? Can we please talk about the Premier League? 2 minutes.
60 seconds of soccer makes it.
Promise me 120 seconds of soccer.
120 seconds of soccer. 2 minutes. 2 minute soccer tangent. We'll workshop this. But
2 minute tangent. Yeah.
for my calling crime, Wes Bradshaw, I'm Edward Green. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Foreign Fair podcast. Until next time, stay safe and enjoy the football.
And good night, Adrian Rabiot. It looks like you're staying in Paris and not doing anything.
God.
I've been waiting for you to just go, fuck you, Adrian Rabiot.
Yeah, fuck you, Adrian. Fuck you and your mom. Just,
Especially your mom. She's the worst.
yeah, that's...
If you come to Liverpool, I'll be a big fan. But
yeah, that's why I'm so glad we're not dealing with that bullshit. Like, I don't know. I think they really overplayed their hand, and now like.
This show is sponsored by Alicia's Pillows and Things. Check out the Facebook page, Alicia's Pillows and Things, where you will find home decor you will not be able to resist at prices anybody can afford. Check out the pillows and stools of your favorite sports teams. Maybe you want a set of your kid's favorite cartoon or movie character. You can also get full body and neck pillows as well. Log on to ngscsports.com and go to the Alicia's Pillows and Things tab on the homepage to complete your order. It makes a great gift for Christmas at an affordable price. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on NGSCsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.